and welcome to Hot Off the List. I'm Mr. Jonathan, and I'm here with my co host Emerald and our special guest for today. Laura Lee Gulledge is a visual storyteller and creative explorer. She has authored 3 YA graphic novels plus an interactive sketchbook and is a teaching artist with the Virginia Museum of Fine Arts and Virginia Commission of the Arts. We asked her to join us so that we can pick her brain about her latest book, The Dark Matter of Mona Starr, a bold graphic novel that discusses depression, navigating friendships, and how to ask for help. Hi, Laura. Thanks for joining us today.
Oh, it is my pleasure to be here with you guys. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. I love this book so much. This book, it's kind of heavy. And so, were you nervous about tackling such a dark subject for a teen audience?
Oh, yes. I had made a zine about drawing through depression. And I think it was my agent who said, you should do a whole book about this. And I said, no way. I don't want to do that. That sounds like a bummer. But then I thought about it and thought, you know what? I'm such a little light fairy now. I was like, I think I can handle filtering this dark content through me and be okay. So I actually spent years working on strengthening my mental and physical health to like handle her, and it actually went really smoothly. And now I feel like I can identify my Matters voice so easily, and it's so quieter than it used to be. So it was super healing for me to work on it.
I think that's also really hopeful for those of us who have depression, particularly like teens. I think it can feel really overwhelming at that age. So it's nice to know that as an adult, and I can attest to that, it does get more manageable. So I love that you write about that.
Yeah, and I call it the matter because when I was a kid, my parents were always like, "What's the matter? What's the matter?" Because I would get easily upset as a highly sensitive person. And I never had the words, and I felt so frustrated that I couldn't explain how I felt or what was going on. So that's why I learned how to draw about feelings. And so it's awesome that now there was a really good container to put that whole journey of, oh, yeah, like not everyone has words for these feelings, but maybe some images and some metaphors. And these things are tools that we can use to help us even explain to the people in our lives about what we're experiencing, because it's confusing for us too.
Yeah, I just like side note real quick. I loved the illustration of the matter. Just the way that it like shapeshifts and it changes, and sometimes it's big and sometimes it's small. That was very relatable. Mona's parents try their best to be supportive, but sometimes they struggle to understand what Mona's going through. What advice do you have for parents of young people who are coping with complex emotions?
Oh gosh, especially right now. I think it that accepting that it's okay that you don't understand what they're going through, that you don't have to understand what someone else is going through to be a good listener, to witness what they're going through, that you don't have to fix them or take, because no one wants to see these young people suffer, especially someone that you love. So you want to fix their problem and figure it out for them. But really, they are the only one who can really identify what's going on in there, so you can help hold space for them. You can connect them with resources to help them, get them good graphic medicine of stories to help give voice to their experiences and just honor what they're going through. But unfortunately, a lot of us adults, to make us feel more comfortable, is not what's best for them. So even just sitting in that discomfort with them is amazing. So yeah, you don't have to understand. It's more important just to know that this isn't something they should feel ashamed about or a problem that needs to be fixed because it's inconvenient. That those feelings are okay and to honor them and to try to give them some outlets and containers, because energy, emotions are energy in motion. So you just need to find a container for that energy. So maybe it's art, maybe it's writing, maybe it's talk therapy. Yeah, I've put a self-care plan in the back of the book that it has only gotten bigger since I made it, because my life I'm basically making into restorative practice to help deal with all the everyday stressors, because life is just low level trauma in itself. So doing those healing things together is also helpful. So I share my self-care plan with my support system. So it's like, hey, what are the things we have in common that we both need? Like we both really need cheese. like to help us when we're struggling. Like, well, so then we talk
Same.
like, how are your cheese levels? Okay, I'm not doing good. Like, okay, let's get some cheese. Like,
I made a photocopy of the back of the book because I found that so helpful, and I like printed it out and it's on the fridge. But also, I love that you talk about honoring those feelings, because I think for people who don't necessarily struggle with depression or any other kind of neurodivergency, or haven't struggled with it yet, it's really hard to understand that it's real and what it feels like. And so I think it's really important that if that isn't your struggle and you love someone and that is their struggle, giving them space to talk about it, because for them it is real and they can't just snap their fingers and change their mindset about it like maybe you think you could. So
mhm,
so one of
very
Mona's
true.
strategies to alleviate her depression is to create art. What role do you think art plays in our emotional lives?
Oh man, I don't know what I would not be this functioning well person without spending so many hours creating art and writing and finding new ways to express what's going on in that inner world. It's like intrapersonal intelligence is even the ability to explore what's within us and to find, even find words to label what we discover in there and what we're feeling, um, let alone its connection with the body. So it's a lot of inner work that we're doing. And so for me, the art is, I just happen to think in metaphors. I think we all think in different languages. So other people, maybe words are more their first language. Some people, maybe it's sound. I've gotten really into dance during pandemic. So dance is like actually how I often will work feelings through instead of through like, oh, what's an image about this? It's like, oh no, let's just physically move our body through this. So there's so many different ways. So visual art's one of them. I always start with writing, like journaling. So normally I'll journal and write about something first, and then images will come out of that. But first, the writing just helps you identify what's even going on in there. So art is really like next level. First, you just gotta like, yeah, dig around and identify what it is that's going on, and then like what figuring out how to draw about it, that's the healing part, because that's when you sort of get to flip the script on it and how you draw about it. And that's like the therapy for me, because I don't even know what it's about until it's done. I'm like, oh, that's what it's about. Like,
Well, thank you for sharing that.
yeah.
Speaking of art, you mention partners and even thank yours in the book. Who are your partners?
Oh, I am such an Artner love advocate, because Artnering is really how I've always connected with other people. Even when I was a kid, like I would draw little comics like about my friends and for my friends. And so making art and including other people in that process is something that I've always craved, because making art by yourself is really isolating. And so it's almost like friendship to the next level is to co-create. And so I talk about co-creating a lot lately, because it's not just about visual art, it's about community, it's about food, it's about sanctuaries, it's about our reality of what we are co-creating together. Because I'm not interested in art that's a monologue. I want art that's conversations, that actually brings in everyone's voices instead of just me. So I have a lot of partners. Some of them are more musicians. Some of them are my dance tribe. Some of them are kids. I partner a lot with groups of students at schools. Um, Recently, I even got to partner with a group of teens who are incarcerated in Williamsburg. So I kind of partner with everybody. We have different types of partners. So there's creative partners, healing partners, sweet partners if you date them, and you're romantic co-creating. And if you're craftsy, you're artsy partners. So part of it is just being playful of making up words to label things that are intimate relationships as love. So it's not just we're making a drawing. It's actually very vulnerable to co-create with someone. So honoring that and bringing in language of like, oh, these are like real relationships. So it's more than just romantic love. That's important. So the Artner love story is the love story in Mona, which I was very excited about.
I love
I
that.
would like, oh, I'm sorry, you go ahead.
I was just saying I love that. I'm good.
Well, we make what we need, right? Otherwise, it's like, oh, my love doesn't count. Like, so I'm very polyartner-esque. Like, I partner with a lot of different people in different ways. And it's this very mindset of love abundance and, yeah, relabeling things so that we do have value and that we are loved. Like, I mean, yeah.
I love that, especially because if I'm being honest, Emerald actually is my partner. So,
I was thinking that. I wasn't going to say it.
so I wanted to know more about Rory the studio cat.
Oh, Rory is asleep right now in his little cardboard box of trash. Uh, he's a very good boy. I think all cartoonists have a cat. It's like, here's your blue pencils and here's your cat to distract you from being stuck at your desk too long because they will come and distract you. Um, but he's my little Bed-Stuy guy. I found him. A friend found him in Brooklyn when I was living there, a few blocks away, and I was working on Will and Wit, my second book, and I was mentally not doing well. Like, I really wasn't doing well, so I needed a little fur baby to help. Yeah, give me someone else to love and to give me some more structure and interaction in my very isolated life at that time.
I
Olivia
love
asked about
that.
Rory. No one ever asked about him.
He's on your website. I love cats. I'm going to find out. So, we have a little game we'd like you to play, and it's called Partners in Crime. So, Emerald has
Love
also
it.
never heard these questions before. I'm going to read you a quote from an artist, and you have to guess the famous partner that they're speaking about. So, I'm going to share my screen here.
Love
Let's
it.
Boy.
see. Okay. And can you see Tolkien over here on the left?
I
Yes.
can.
Okay, here we go. Let's see, how many do we got? We have 6. All right, so here's question number 1. J.R.R. Tolkien wrote in a letter to his fantasy writer BFF, I warn you, if you bore me, I shall take my revenge. Who is Tolkien's partner?
I know
Oh.
this, and I cannot pull his name out. He wrote the Chronicles of Narnia.
Oh, C.S. Lewis.
Thank you. Oh
Yes,
my
C.S.
goodness.
Lewis. You both got it. Excellent job. Excellent. Okay, number 2. After painting a portrait of Gertrude Stein, this artist said, everybody says that she does not look like it, but that does not make any difference. She will. Who is
Oh,
Gertrude Stein's partner?
that's got to be Mr. Pablo Picasso.
That's Picasso. Yes. Excellent. Okay, you're 2 for 2. Here we go. Tony Bennett made 2 albums with this pop star who was quoted as saying, it's hard to watch somebody change. I think that's what's beautiful about this. And what's been challenging is to see how Alzheimer's affects him in some ways, but to see how it doesn't affect his talent. Who is Tony Bennett's partner?
Oh, that's got to be Miss Lady Gaga.
Lady
Lady
Gaga.
Gaga.
Excellent. Well, there we go. There she is. Lady Gaga. Very good. Okay, 3 for 3. Question number 4. Diego Rivera said of this artist, I did not know it then, but she had already become the most important fact in my life and would continue to be up to the moment she died. Who
Frida
is
Kahlo.
Oh, Frida Kahlo. Yes. Excellent. Okay, 2 more. Bridesmaids director Paul Feig said of this movie star, she's such a good physical comedian. She's almost athletic in that way. She's very in control of her instrument, as they say in the acting business. Who is Paul Feig's partner?
Oh, that's got to be Melissa McCarthy.
Yes, Melissa McCarthy. I thought that picture would throw you guys off, but I guess not.
Oh, I'm a fan. Well, she's still Sookie in my heart.
Me too.
Yes. Do you love Gilmore Girls?
I actually just put it in my self-care plan officially. Gilmore Girls is the only video listed in the self-care plan.
I love that. Also, Emerald talks about Gilmore Girls all the time. So.
It's a really big deal. I'm trying to be chill about it.
All right, one more question. After performing a cover of her song Juice, Harry Styles said of this musician, I just think she's amazing. She's one of the most exciting artists working now for sure. She's exactly what you want an artist to be, which is themselves. Who is Harry Styles' partner?
Lizzo.
It's Lizzo! Thank you both. Oh my gosh, you swept our quiz, which never happens, to be honest.
Yeah. Well, I do
Thank
love
you.
Artners, and I am obsessed with Artnering, so that's cool to see the collection you put together.
Thank you so much for joining us. In a way, now all three of us are partners because we worked on this interview together. So,
It's true. So I'm like, high five. High five. I know.
so for those of you who are watching, all of the teens and all of the librarians and teachers, if you haven't read The Dark Matter of Mona Starr, I cannot implore you anymore to pick it up. It is such a great book and it has so many resources in the back. So if like struggling with depression, if that is your struggle, this is a book that honestly, it doesn't feel too heavy. It doesn't feel triggering. It honestly feels like a form of self-care just reading it. So thank you for having written it and thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. And if anyone wants to print off,
No, go ahead, go ahead.
say that on my website, I have a bunch of my mini comics posted that you can print off. So there's like one about self-care, one about Artner love. So at whoislauralee.com in my learning section, there's lots of resources you can help yourself too.
I love that. Thank you so much. All right, see you next time.